What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk to you about NIO. I want to go over some of the data points, break it down on what is really moving it, and go over everything else you need to know. But first, make sure to hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. So NIO's down 1.06%, 602 the low, 629 the high, and 46.2 million shares being traded. Today, there really hasn't been that much in macro data from the States or from China. What is causing all this fear in the market is largely rolling over from last week. And normally what does happen is NIO gets affected through algorithmic trading. So gotta give credit when credit is due. NIO is doing pretty solid today, given the circumstances, because at the same time, we also did have XPeng put out their earnings, and normally whatever happens to one EV does trickle down to others. So XPeng is getting hit quite hard today. So again, NIO is definitely doing very, very well, because normally on days like this, like NIO is somehow, it doesn't logically make sense, but they're down like double digits. So I think maybe there is some value being sought. And plus, on a side note, you are seeing a little bit more institutional transactions that are buys. So big money is somewhat buying the NIO dip, but still, as per usual, most of the volume is coming from algorithmic trading. And possibly one reason why NIO is doing a little bit better today than normal is because of this update. So the market generally really likes NIO's kind of operational updates. So this one right here does signal that NIO has launched the ES6 Milestone Edition. So it goes over some prices there, and it does show that it's going to be limited to 300,000 units. So overall, this is very good stuff. And as I mentioned, the market actually is very favorable towards these types of PRs. So aside from that, though, it's just a lot of other articles coming out talking about the latest in 13Fs. And so far, there's only been two. So we did have Great-West Life increasing their position about 13.8 million. And then you had Central Assets make a brand new position of about 56,000, all of which did occur in Q3. So I've already done videos over the last couple days or trading days where I did say that blah 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 various entities did increase. All of these transactions, on a side note, does not mean that they occurred today or Friday. It was all in Q3. So even this new institution increasing their position, I think, what was it, 35 million? So Aspects Management, that was done in Q3. So just wanted to kind of break that down. I have a weird feeling people just see the title and post a comment without actually listening. But nonetheless, we are seeing a lot of good institutional transactions, and some maybe not really advantageous to have around, but Citadel did increase their call position as well as common stock and puts, but not the same magnitude as the call options. Aside from all of that, shorts are returning 461,000 shares, and I see that as relatively optimistic because there is a lot of available shares, roughly more than 10 million, and plus, on a side note, it is fairly cheap to short NIO. So if shorts really did feel that this was the end all be all, they could easily double and triple down, but they're not. They're returning. So I see this as overall optimistic. Doesn't mean that it's going to be a short squeeze. On a side note, it's just good for analysis purposes. But 11.3% of the free float is being shorted. Works to be 156.7 million shares overall being shorted. Cost to borrow minimum is negative, so negative 0.05, so meaning that there is a broker out there paying people to short NIO. DTC is 2 days, so that does signal that shorts are overextended at the same time. So possibly that might be one reason why shorts might be returning today. Aside from that, looking at the options, 2.8 million in calls, 2.3 in puts, and then 53% of all the options being done are bullish in nature. The bulls seem to be feeling that about 650 plus is on the table. Bears are anticipating for it to be sub 6. So you have a little bit more of a back and forth there. These are some of the transactions that are occurring right now on the dark pool above $100,000. So definitely good to see a lot more transactions. And given the fact that shorts aren't doing too much, it is fair to assume that most of this is linked to kind of hedge funds. So I always much rather have institutions trading it, even if they are selling, institutions trading it rather than algos, because algorithmic trading is rather hollow. But aside from that, with it at 609, it is right below this S2. So best case scenario, NIO does fight back and gets above this 611. And if not, we could potentially see some further consolidation to about 544. So that would be the following support level. And for those of you that tuned in over the weekend, that is what the Elliott Wave technicals are kind of projecting is coming. So roughly around that mid $5 range. Aside from that, on the actual chart, things aren't looking too great. Of course, ever since it did break below that 50-day moving average, things really escalated down. So the next strong support is going to be that 100-day moving average, and that's sitting at 590. Wasn't tested whatsoever today. Looking at the market position, you see a little bit of gaps potentially. So if things kind of escalate, like I said, you could see a push to roughly around that 540, and so that would fill a lot of these gaps, but still there's no real 100% rule saying, hey, these gaps need to be filled by X date. They could happen anytime, or sometimes they don't happen. It's just one of those rules of thumb that people like to always say. So in general, there's clearly a lot more willing sellers based on all this, but things as what we've seen in the past can easily turn very, very fast to be bullish. And NIO's earnings coming right around the corner, that could be enough to really justify a push higher. It's just a lot of fear in the market right now. So if you believe in NIO, take advantage, buy the dip, do what you need to do. Or if you're wanting to catch the bottom, I did bring up a couple key levels to watch for. So you do have that 100-day moving average, and then you also have right over here this S3, so that 544. So if you're wanting to kind of dollar cost average, swing trade, potentially those might be good entry points, but still, like I said, NIO sometimes just goes up randomly, and all it'll take is just PRs such as this, operational updates, launches, and I think there's going to be some big ones, big announcements most likely during their upcoming earnings. So closer to their earnings date, I'll do a dedicated video about what Wall Street is really going to be paying attention to, and that could really help it move higher. So let me know your thoughts on NIO. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up and subscribe. Always greatly appreciate that. One final thing, pop over to my Patreon if you're looking for some solid buy signals on stocks, options, crypto. Put out daily day trades, numerous swing trades. Worthwhile to pop over there and check that out. With all that said, appreciate all you watching.